Hi, I'm Bob with Wolfe Ridge. Today we're bringing you a new machine that is entering our lineup. Wolfe Ridge has been manufacturing log splitters since 2015, and what started out in a small garage is now grown into a company that employs 30 people in Wisconsin. Right now we are bringing you the 28 Pro X. The 28 Pro X starts as a regular 28 Pro, but then we add options that are available for the 28 Pro, and then we add some things that you cannot get on the 28 Pro, including one really innovative design change that we really think you guys are going to like. So this machine has 28 tons of splitting force. It has the Honda GX270 engine on it. Electric start is standard. It has auto cycle as standard, and log lift as standard, and hydraulic wedge height adjustment as standard. Four-way wedge is included, but you might notice that this has the tall push block on it that is only typically offered in our bigger machines. And we have the Magnum big bore cylinder. So we're going to improve the cycle time on this 28 Pro X when comparing it to a standard 28 Pro. Black will be the only color for this limited edition machine. We got some custom decals made to commemorate the 10th anniversary. And the big X on the side is the Roman numeral 10. And it also looks really cool. The standard features that you normally find on the 28 Pro, this also has. So we have the sliding drawbar in the bottom. Right now we've got it in the work position. If we pull that pin and slide it out, we will be in the transport position. We have the drop leg in the back, which is not down yet. We have the drop jack in the front. We can add the sorting table extension to this. You can see we've got the square holes to add that option if we want to. And we can also run a 6-way wedge on this, which is an option. Looking up at the controls of the machine, here you can see we've got auto cycle valve, we have wedge height adjustment, and we have log lift adjustment and the pressure gauge. The pressure gauge is very helpful to have for diagnosing things and for setting your max pressures, which are these two here, and our detents for the auto cycle, which are right back here. The 28 Pro X uses a 15-gallon hydraulic oil tank and a 16-gallon per minute hydraulic pump that is two-stage. This decal is something that we started putting on the machines earlier this year. You can get warranty information with this QR code and you can make a warranty claim. We got all of our maintenance and how-to videos here and parts and accessories link here, and then to register your warranty you can scan this code. Here we've got the sight glass for the hydraulic oil. This is dual purpose. The center where the blue is, that is the temperature of the oil, and then the actual level here, that's the fluid level. We're not quite level right now sitting here on the ground, so that's why we're below this full cold. But you'll notice as the machine runs and gets warm, this is going to get into a higher position because it expands and contracts with temperature. And this machine has a combination hydraulic oil fill, canister oil filter area here. So if we take this cap off, we can add hydraulic oil, and you will find the cartridge oil filter in there as well. We have 12-volt battery, electric start for this machine. Now this machine does not have the alternator for running bigger accessories like our light towers or a hydraulic oil cooler, so you still need to move into a compact commercial to get stuff like that. One of the biggest innovations that we did is we added a removable log cradle here. The existing log cradles were welded to the beam, and now this is bolted on. And what that let us do was have multiple positions. So if we take this bolt out down here, we can put this into different positions. Right now we have it in the center. The other thing we did is added this mount at the bottom for the log lift cylinder. And you might see right now that is going to allow us to put the log lift on either side of this machine and then put this cradle on either side of this machine. And I'll show you guys how that works right now. We're in the shop right now with this 28 Pro X, and you can see that we have the log lift and the cradle in opposite positions from what we were running just now in the yard. So right now we've got the log lift on the opposite side of what would normally be. So you can see if you wanted to run the splitter from the log lift side, you'd be able to. You have the split controls right here and very close to you, even with the wheel here. And you can still reach the log lift and the wedge levers as well. So right now we are going to change this thing. I got Nick over here from assembly helping me. He is going to put the log lift on the opposite side and put the cradle back on this side. And we'll show you the adjustment points of that cradle as well. So tools needed for this, we have 11/16 open end wrench, 3/4 open end wrench, 7/8 open end wrench, inch and a 1/16, inch and an 1/8, and then we have a, what size socket is it? We have an inch and an 1/8 socket. The swivel helps tremendously, and also then here a 3/4 inch socket. Now, this isn't meant to be done like every time you're going to go split wood, but basically if somebody's wood yard was set up in a way that they really wanted the log lift on one side or the other, we're making the 28 Pro X have the ability to put the lift on either side. Give it a little bit more versatility for any wood yard. So Nick's going to start this thing up because it's going to be easier to swap this log lift around when it is folded up and in a more upward position. So he's going to lift that up right now, and then we will flip that closed. Right here we got the pin for storage. Now he'll close that, put the pin in, and then we will get to the nuts and the bolts. So the first thing for this changeover, Nick is going to take out the bolts and hardware that are holding this cradle in position. And actually, Nick, can you show us the multiple positions that has now since you took those out? So there is, basically that acts as like a little resplitting tray almost. If you're bringing logs over, you could split, have a small piece land here or a bigger piece and you got to resplit it. So that's as low as it goes. And then if we want to go up as high as it goes, what do we look like there? So if we go on as high as it goes, now the point of this was that if you're going to have either smaller rounds that you always want to center here without having the fear of them like rolling over in between the cradle, that's what that position's for. So for this part, you'll need an inch and an 1/8 wrench and an inch and a 1/16 wrench. The inch and an 1/8 is the bolt side, and the inch and a 1/16 is the nut side. So Nick's going to take those out. So Nick was using wrenches on the first side just to show it could be done. It's a lot faster with an impact. All right, next is going to be taking the cylinder off. So you can see there's a hitch pin clip there, and then there's a big pin. So we set the cylinder down on the ground, set the log lift down on the ground, and then he's going to use his impact again to take off these bolts. And these bolts have captive nut welded into the log lift here, so you don't need to worry about a wrench on the backside. Just got to take these big bolts out. Now you'll want to try and hold the log lift when you pull those bolts out of there, and then also pay attention, you got washer here and here. Now here you can see the beam without the log lift and without the cradle on it. And then down here you can see what we got left. We have the cylinder down here, and we have 2 mounting points for the cylinder now on these machines. So this is where we're going to move the cylinder to. So we'll pull this clip, that pin, and then we'll put the cylinder over here. Now, in order to do this, the hoses do need to get slightly loosened on the cylinder just so that they can swivel while we put the cylinder to the other side. Now we've got the pin back in and the clip on for the cylinder. And since that's done, he's going to tighten up the fittings on these hoses. All right, the cylinder's back in place. So now he's going to put the log lift back in position, and remember to place the washers back in. So you have to kind of sandwich the washer in between the log lift and that big bolt, and then get the bolt started without cross-threading it. Now those are both started. He's going to cheat and use his impact again to tighten up both of those. So Nick just put the cradle back on here, 1 bolt through each side, 1 lock nut. There are no washers for that side of it, so these will get snugged up, but not so tight that this can't move. So we set the cradle into the middle position, and that'll give us a good kind of best of both worlds. Since Nick and I are both used to it being built this way, that's how we're going to run it for this video today. Something I want to point out is that if the log lift is switched to this side and the cradle is on that side, there is still enough room to reach the splitting valves with the log lift down. So we've been asked a couple times about having the log lift on the same side as the splitting valves, and in this case you can do that. All of these machines are going to leave the factory with the cradle in the middle position and the log lift on the standard position. But as you can see in that previous clip, it's not that hard to change. It takes about 15 minutes if you're shooting a video with it. Otherwise, we figure 5 to 10 minutes, you can swap that over. Nick just lowered this front jack so we can put the back jack leg down. That really gives a ton of stability to these machines. We'll put that down, put the pin in, and then as he cranks up on that front jack, that's going to really make this thing solid. All right, it's starting to get warmed up. For reference, it's about 10 degrees Fahrenheit in the wood yard where we're working. And we've got the 4-way wedge on right now. We're gonna pull that pin and get that off of there, and we're gonna put the 6-way wedge on. Now the 6-way wedge is an option for this machine. The 4-way is standard and included. This pile of rounds we cut up earlier, that's all coming from this pile here, and most of it is oak, but some of it is getting pretty punky inside, so we're kind of left with that to run this machine with. But we've got a couple of nicer ones here. We're going to run through the 6-way wedge now. All right, Nick's going to start this thing back up, and he said this one's going to be a tester right here. So we've got this knot on this butt end here. We'll have this pointed up as we go through that 6-way wedge. we started out with the 4-way wedge, which is included with the machine, and then we switched to the optional 6-way. We wanted to show you guys that this thing can handle running the 6-way, and having this taller Magnum push block on it, we get more coverage on the back side of the round when we're pushing it through the wedge. And this machine, we're seeing about an 8-second cycle time with it, actually a little bit under now that the oil's warm, but our tech spec is 8 seconds for the cycle time on this, unloaded, forward and back. The Pro X was announced to the dealers a couple months ago, so a lot of them have machines on order. So if you want to get one of these machines in the soonest way possible, check with your local dealer. I'll put the dealer locator in the description for this video. They've got a lot of these machines ordered. We think it's going to be a hit. We listened to your feedback at the trade shows this year, especially at Paul Bunyan. This is a good machine in between the 28 Pro and our compact commercial line. If you'd like more information on this machine or any of our other products, please check out the website, www.wolferidgemfg.com. There you can also find our events calendar, owner's manuals, how-to videos, and much more. I want to thank you guys for watching. As always, thank you for the support. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on what's next at Wolfe Ridge.